Let us discuss the answers for the questions given as home assignment. The first main, answer the following questions. First question, salt is dissolved in water. Can this change be reversed? Answer, yes, this change can be reversed. Salt can be obtained by heating the salt solution. The water evaporates, leaving behind solid salt. Second question, how is a metal rim fixed on a wooden wheel of a cart? Answer, the metal rim is usually smaller than the wooden wheel. On heating, the rim expands and fits onto the wheel. Cold water is poured over the rim, which contracts and fits tightly onto the wheel. Third question, give examples to explain the difference between changes that can or cannot be reversed. Answer, first one or the first example, folding of a paper is a reversible change, while cutting a paper is an irreversible change. B or the second example, making a ball out of a dough is a reversible change. But once the chapati or roti is baked on the pan, it is an irreversible change. Third or C point, inflating a balloon is a reversible change, while bursting of a balloon is an irreversible change. Children, you would have observed a lot of plants around your house while you're coming to school or going out somewhere, isn't it? Each plant is different from the other. They differ in their size, their shape, their height. Now, in different areas, we have different plants or trees. For example, in hilly areas, we have very tall trees, such as the pine tree, fir, or cedar. So, they are very tall trees which we find in the hilly areas. When you come to the plain areas or the plain regions, we have very huge trees, such as the banyan tree, the gulmohar, Ashoka tree, which we commonly find around here in this area. Then we find the peepal tree also, which is quite huge. When you go to the desert regions, can you guess what type of plants we find? Yes, we see the cactus. So all these plants or trees, they are so different from each other. Now children, if you look at the pictures here, you can see some of the plants have very brightly colored leaves, such as the crotons, which are generally used as the indoor plants also, very commonly grown in our gardens. So the color of the leaves is also a variety. Generally we feel that leaves are green in color, but some plants have very brightly colored leaves. The shape of the leaves also varies. Some plants have long blade-like leaves. For example, in grass, some plants have ribbon-like leaves. Some have very huge leaves. Now, where do you find huge leaves? Can you think of it? Have you heard or have you seen the fig tree? The fiddle fig tree. They have very huge leaves. Or maybe the elephant ear plant. The scientific name is Colocasia. If you have seen here, I have given the picture here in the slide. Just have a look. The leaves are just like the shape of a elephant's ear. The roots and the leaves of this plant are edible. They are cooked and eaten as vegetable in our own state also. It is called as the arbi. The root is called as arbi and cooked as a vegetable, while the leaves are used for making a dish called as a patrode. Maybe the Mangalore side people will be familiar with this. Now, some plants have very tiny leaves also. For example, if you have observed, some of the houses they have these hanging plants. If you observe, the leaves are very tiny. So, here itself we find that there is a very huge variety of plants around us. Now, if you have to learn and study these plants, it's not an easy job to do because there is such a big variety. Then what we have to do is we have to group them separately. So classification is done based on their height, their stem, their branches, etc. So once we classify, the study becomes easier. We get to know easily about different plants. Let us study the different parts of a plant. A plant is divided into two main parts, the shoot system and the root system. The shoot system includes the parts of the plant above the ground such as leaves, stem, flowers, fruits and buds. The root system includes parts of the plant below the ground, that is the roots. We will be studying the different parts of the plant in the lesson Getting to Know Plants. Let us learn more about the different parts of a plant in the lesson Getting to Know Plants. Plants are grouped based on their height, nature of stem and branches into three groups, namely herbs, shrubs and trees. Herbs. Herbs are plants with green and tender stem. They are usually short and they may or may not have branches. Example: mint leaves, coriander, lemongrass, tomato, etc. Now children, here you would have commonly seen the herb that is coriander. If you have observed the stem, it is very fleshy and soft and green in color. Most of the plants have the stem which are brown in color, but here in a herb usually the stem is green in color and they are very juicy or fleshy when you touch them. And most of these herbs, they do not have branches, but a few plants like the tomato plant, they do have branches. Now if you have observed the mint leaves, lemongrass, coriander, all these are used as flavoring agents while cooking. So what are herbs? Herbs are plants with green and tender stem. They are usually short and they may or may not have branches. What are the examples? Mint leaves, coriander, etc. The next group of plants are called the shrubs. Shrubs are medium-sized plants, which means they are neither very tall nor very short. The best example would be a rose plant or a hibiscus. So these two plants are commonly seen around our houses. You would have observed the stem. It is usually very hard and woody. Sometimes they are brown in color, but in case of a rose, you can find them in green color also. Now when it is hard and woody, you might be thinking, why can't we call them as a tree then? there are various reasons. Here in a shrub, the stem is not very thick, it is not very broad like as you see in a tree. And these shrubs have branches towards the base of the stem. So, what are shrubs? They are medium-sized plants. They have hard and woody stem, which are usually thin, and the branches are seen towards the base of the stem. And what are the common examples of shrubs? Rose plant, hibiscus plant, tulsi plant, jasmine plant, all these are called shrubs. The third group of plants are trees. Trees are plants which are very tall. They have very strong, thick and brown stem. They have branches in the upper part much above the ground. The common examples for trees are coconut tree, mango tree, banyan tree, etc. So, how is a tree different from a shrub? Trees are very tall compared to shrubs, and they have very strong and thick and brown stem. And usually they have branches in the upper part much above the ground. Here is an activity. You are going to complete the table using your observations. The names of a few plants are given, such as the mango, hibiscus, neem, croton. These are the different plants. You are going to observe the height of the plant, the stem, whether it is green, tender, thick, hard. You are going to observe whether the branches appear at the base of the stem or higher up on the stem, and finally come to a conclusion to which group the plant belongs, whether it is a herb, shrub or a tree. First example has been done for you. Mango, the height is very tall. The stem, as you all know, is very thick and hard. What about the branches? They appear higher up on the stem. So all these characters show that mango is a tree. Similarly, you are going to observe the height of the plant, the stem, the branches in case of hibiscus, neem, croton, and conclude whether it is a herb, shrub or a tree. Creepers. What are creepers? Creepers are plants with weak stem which cannot stand upright, but they spread on the ground horizontally. So these plants are called creepers. Example: watermelon, pumpkin. Climbers. What are climbers? Plants that take support and climb up are called climbers. These climbers have soft stem which take any support and climb up. Example is money plant, grapevine, pea plant, etc. So what is the difference between a creeper and a climber? Creepers grow horizontally along the soil, while climbers take the support of the neighboring or the nearby objects and climb up. Points to remember. Children, please make a note of these points in your notebooks. Plants are usually grouped into herbs, shrubs and trees based on their height, nature of stem and branches. Herbs are plants with green and tender stem. They are usually short and may not have branches. Example: coriander, mint, tomato, etc. Shrubs are plants which develop branches near the base of the stem. The stem is hard but not very thick. Example: rose, lemon, tulsi, etc. Trees. Trees are plants which are very tall and have hard and thick stem. These stems have branches in the upper part. Example: mango, neem, banyan, etc. Creepers are plants with weak stem that cannot stand upright but spread on the ground. Example: pumpkin, watermelon, cucumber, etc. Climbers are plants that take the support and climb up. Example: money plant, peas, grapevine, etc. Home assignment: answer the following. First question: mention the different groups into which plants are classified. Second question: differentiate between creepers and climbers. Third one: draw a neat labeled diagram of a plant and label it. So children, you're going to answer these in your book, as well as you're going to draw neatly and label the parts as it is shown in the slide.